I'm Veronica. Standing in my hallway, I'm face to face with a storm. In front of me, Ryan, my ex-fiancé, stands in a sharp black suit, his posture rigid with disbelief. Beside him is his mother, Margaret, her perfectly coiffed hair and diamond-studded earrings a stark contrast to the fury in her eyes. It all started when I received a text from Ryan on a Wednesday night at 8:23 p.m. Veronica, I'm drowning. The wedding, it's all too much. I need time alone. Don't reach out. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. I stared at the screen for what felt like an eternity. As a project manager, I'm used to dealing with unexpected setbacks. But this was a personal blow. Ryan, a 36-year-old tech entrepreneur, was charming and ambitious. We'd been engaged for 3 years, and our dream wedding, a grand spring affair, had become a logistical nightmare, mostly orchestrated by Margaret. She saw the wedding as a chance to showcase her family's status. Ryan had the vision, Margaret had the opinions, and I was left to handle the bills. I convinced myself it was just pre-wedding jitters. That was my first mistake. When a key player in a project disappears without a word, you don't put it on hold, you end it. So, I replied with a simple okay. That night, I opened our wedding planner and created a new spreadsheet. Project wedding was officially terminated. I started making calls. The first was to the venue, the Grand Ballroom. I calmly informed them of the cancellation, acknowledging the $18,000 non-refundable deposit. The coordinator mentioned that if the date was rebooked, 70% could be refunded. One down. Then came the photographer, the florist, the caterer, and the band. Each call was brief, polite, and final. By the end of the week, every contract in my name was cancelled. I lost over $15,000, but it was better than waiting in limbo. The last step was personal. The engagement ring, a family heirloom from my great-grandmother, was locked away in a safe deposit box. As I handed it over to the bank teller, I realized Ryan wasn't asking for space, he was trying to control me. And control only works if the other person waits. 4 weeks passed. Then my phone rang. I let it go to voicemail, and a text followed. Veronica, I'm ready to talk. I miss you. Let's get back to planning. I called him back. His voice was casual, as if I'd been waiting patiently for him. Veronica, I'm so glad you called. We should schedule the cake tasting. Mom's worried. I took a deep breath. There's no tasting. The venue is cancelled, along with everything else. His breath hitched. You cancelled everything? You were supposed to wait. I replied calmly, you told me not to contact you. A wedding needs full commitment. You walked away, so I ended it. The next morning, at 8:15 a.m. I got another text. We need to talk in person. Open the door when I get there. I ignored it. I made myself a cup of coffee and sat at the kitchen counter, looking at the spreadsheet. It was a reminder that this wasn't about revenge, it was about protecting myself. At 9:45 a.m. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Ryan and Margaret. Ryan in his expensive suit, Margaret with her air of entitlement. I opened the door but kept the chain on. Margaret didn't even greet me. What is this nonsense? Do you have any idea how much this wedding means? My friends are flying in from all over the world. I replied, I'm well aware. That's why I cancelled it. Ryan stepped forward, his jaw tight. Veronica, unlock the door. You're being unreasonable. I simply said, no. Margaret's eyes widened in shock. You can't do this. This is a relationship, not a business deal. I retorted, funny, because you both treated it like a business until I applied the same rules. Ryan ran his hand through his hair in frustration. I just needed space. You didn't have to destroy everything. I shot back, you didn't ask for space. You demanded no contact. That's control, not space. Margaret hissed, you're overreacting. Men get stressed. You women don't understand. I cut her off. Don't turn this into a gender issue. Your son chose to leave me with all the responsibilities. I then asked Ryan, where did you go to sort out your feelings? His face twitched slightly. I went away. I pressed on, with who? His gaze shifted to the side. With Jake, a buddy from college. The name sounded forced. Margaret jumped in, this is none of your business. That's when I knew my suspicion was right. If it was a normal trip, she would have flaunted it. I nodded slowly. Okay. You went away, sorted things out, and now you're back. But this is over. Margaret's voice rose to a scream. You will call those vendors right now and fix this. I shook my head. I can't. The venue has been rebooked for a corporate event. Ryan's face paled. What do you mean? They can't do that. I shrugged. They can, and they did. The contract was in my name. Ryan stepped closer to the chain. Unlock the door. We can work this out. I said firmly, we're not working it out. You're picking up your things. Margaret gasped. His things? This is his home too. I replied, it's my lease. His name isn't on the paperwork. Ryan's voice cracked. Veronica, what are you doing? I felt a wave of disgust. He expected me to be the old, accommodating Veronica. But I was done. What I should have done the day you sent that text, I said quietly. Margaret sneered, you're throwing away 3 years because he had a moment of doubt. I countered, it wasn't doubt. Doubt is when you communicate. This was a dismissal, a test. Ryan flinched at the word test. Then, Ryan demanded, give me back the ring. I took a deep breath. You mean my great-grandmother's ring? You proposed with it because it was my family heirloom. Margaret leaned forward. It was a gift. It belongs to my son now. I retorted, it was a conditional gift. The condition was marriage. Ryan's eyes narrowed. That's not a thing. I replied, it is. And it's in a safe deposit box. I knew you'd try to use it as leverage. Ryan's face twisted in anger. You locked it away? I met his gaze steadily. Yes, because I knew you'd be predictable. Margaret pointed at the chain. You will regret this. We'll get lawyers. We'll ruin you. Ryan pleaded, Veronica, just open the door. Let's talk like adults. I looked at him and said, you had 3 weeks to talk like an adult. You chose silence. And you chose something else, too. Ryan froze, and Margaret's eyes darted to him suspiciously. I took out my phone. Text me a time to pick up your things. I'll have them boxed in the lobby. Margaret scoffed. He's not leaving. I said, he is. Ryan's breathing changed. He was realizing he might lose everything. He whispered, you're really doing this? I replied, yes. Margaret spun on her heel. Fine. We'll do it the hard way. As the elevator doors closed, she shouted, you'll never find someone better than my son. After they left, I locked the door and leaned against it. A small tremor ran through me, a reminder that I was still human. But the war was far from over. The next day, in the middle of a project meeting, I got an email from HR. The subject was confidential matter, immediate attention required. My stomach dropped. I knew exactly what this was. When people like Margaret don't get their way, they play dirty. I excused myself from the meeting, closed my office door, and opened the email. An anonymous complaint had been filed, claiming that my personal issues were creating a toxic work environment. It questioned my ability to handle high-risk projects, implying I was unreliable and volatile. I read it 3 times, then took a deep breath. I forwarded the email to my director and requested an immediate meeting. An hour later, I was sitting in front of HR and management. I didn't cry or get defensive. I presented the facts. I believe this complaint is retaliatory. It coincides with the end of my engagement. My ex-fiancé and his mother threatened to ruin me when I set boundaries. I provided a timeline, the breakup text, the cancellations, and the confrontation. My work record spoke for itself. For years, no incidents, consistent promotions, and excellent peer reviews. The HR manager nodded slowly. We have to investigate, but this seems personal. That afternoon, I got an email from Ryan's father, Henry. The subject was outstanding financial matters. The email demanded reimbursement for their share of the wedding deposits, plus compensation for emotional distress and public embarrassment. I laughed out loud. They wanted me to pay for Ryan's decision to walk away. I forwarded the email to my lawyer, Emily. She replied within 20 minutes. This is harassment. Don't respond. I'll handle it. 2 hours later, a courier delivered an itemized invoice for $32,500. They'd retroactively charged me for rent, an interior design consultation Ryan didn't even like, and a fee for emotional support. At the bottom, they demanded the ring, valued at $50,000 according to them. Emily called me that evening. This is amateur intimidation, but we can't ignore it. She then discovered that Ryan had registered a new event planning business using my address without my permission. Emily drafted a cease and desist letter. It demanded the immediate removal of my address from all business filings, required written proof within 15 days, and declared all business mail would be returned. It reaffirmed the ring as a conditional gift, attaching a certified appraisal valuing it at $18,000, and noted their inflated claim could be fraud. It also documented every act of harassment. When Henry replied, his tone was conciliatory. This has gone too far. Let's return the ring and move on. I responded, your family tried to sabotage my career and extort me. This is now handled by my lawyer. The ring is non-negotiable. He never replied again. Pickup day was set for Saturday. I spent the week packing Ryan's things methodically. As I sealed the last box, my apartment felt quiet, like it was truly mine again. 3 months later, the noise finally stopped. Ryan didn't show up on pickup day. Instead, 2 movers came and took away 29 boxes. I watched from the lobby, feeling detached. He couldn't even face me. The cease and desist letter worked. The fraud implications scared them. The business address issue panicked Ryan. A week later, HR closed the complaint, stating it was malicious and unsubstantiated. My director told me he admired how I'd handled the situation. I later found out from a mutual friend that during the 3-week break, Ryan was with his ex-girlfriend, the one he'd always said was toxic. It was clear the break was a test drive. He wanted to see if his old life still fit, keeping me as a backup. My life is peaceful now. The $15,000 loss still hurts, but I see it as a price for freedom. I sold the painting Ryan insisted on buying and replaced it with one I love. My great-grandmother's ring is still in the bank. My younger sister just got engaged, and I gave her the ring. Let it start a new story based on mutual respect, not control. The revenge wasn't flashy. It was calculated. Ryan asked for no contact, and I gave him silence. They thought they could bully me, but they forgot I'm a project manager. When a project fails, you cut your losses, document everything, and move forward. My next project is me, and for the first time in a long time, the future looks bright.